Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It's Thursday, the 1st of December, last month of 2022. Just when, we keep... Derek, are you muted?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I didn't vocalize that one.
All right.
That
funny,
makes
right?
tons of sense to the podcast
we're,
listeners.
Every listener now is confused. Congrats.
Yeah. We're all I mean, let's be fair though, like how much of this shit actually makes sense to our podcast viewers? This shit barely makes sense to us.
We have podcast viewers?
We do. And actually, on that, thank you to everybody. We had some really good numbers in 2022. We fucking crushed it. Thank you to everybody on who listens to us on podcast services, including SoundCloud and Spotify. That's where we get the vast majority of our views.
It's cool. Spotify actually said that we get more fucking listens than that
Joe
fucking
Rogan.
dork ass Snake Boy. Yeah, I said we're doing better than Joe Rogan.
We're doing better than Snake Boy.
Yeah.
Better than Joe Rogan.
We're closing in on more listens.
Yeah. One thing we have that Snake Boy doesn't have is we have an award-winning podcast. So what's the award?
You can't prove we haven't won awards.
Yeah.
Don't step on Sneak.
We have more PAX panels, that's for sure.
That's true. We have one of us has had a PAX panel for our podcast, and one of us is not. So, oh god, it's got to be one of those spicy podcasts tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm not keeping the fucking peace tonight. That's for sure.
Good. No, I don't believe in peace.
I am here to be two things. A fucking problem.
Like, are you okay, Derek? Like,
are you on my level? Like that I was when I was at John's house?
Derek,
Hell yeah.
Buddy, hold up, man. You seem out of it. You good, man? You want to talk about it?
I've had a hard day.
Oh, really?
You want to talk about it, Derek?
Let's talk about it, man. Because you seem kind of out of it. Like you seem like something's like
in about 5 minutes. Derek's just gonna float out of his chair like that Mario gif or the Winnie the Pooh one where he just floats away.
From fucking Kingdom Hearts, where Pooh's soul like fucking leaves his body.
Yeah,
like
I'm doing just fine. This is normal. How are you?
How are any of us? Ask me. I would say, you know what, we should revisit how we're all doing in 2023, but every year seems to get successively fucking
you don't
worse.
get it. I don't plan on making it to 2023. I'm getting to 2022 and 354 days, and I'm climbing into a freezer. It's staying there.
All right, Walt Disney, chill the fuck out.
I'm so glad I hadn't had a drink before you said that.
Derek is having one of those nights. Derek, I can already see that.
Yeah.
Call
me the Eagles because I am having one of these nights.
But I cannot express how much I missed being on the show with you guys during my COVID escapades.
Yeah, you were I think legally
I missed you.
Dead for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was not fucking fun. It was very not chill at all. I woke up one morning
because you had a fucking fever of 103, so of course
103.2. 103.2. Like I was
a dick wave.
I'm so sick of the talk of like mild symptoms, because this is what clinically these are mild symptoms, but it's so misleading when they keep saying like, oh, most people have mild symptoms. Like, no, most people will fucking die for 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I literally was an ass hair away from like, okay, I need to go to the ER.
Dying
like,
for 2 weeks is mild compared to being dead forever, I guess.
Yeah, right.
True.
If you have a fever of 103, you're hallucinating for 48 hours straight every night.
I was straight hallucinating. I looked at my Switch and the fucking Pixel remasters were on there. Like I was
the last time I had the flu when I came back from PAX.
You enjoyed The Witcher 3's combat. Like,
I was like, man, The Witcher 3's fucking got amazing combat. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was saying.
Dude, the last time I had the flu and had like 103-degree fever, which was right before I came to PAX. It would have been a couple months earlier than that because that was the second time. Yes. Anyway, I was so out of it every night that I was hallucinating things like being tied down and held down and repaired by tiny gnomes.
That sounds badass, actually.
That's actually kind of dope.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of lit.
It's a liminal space between hell and purgatory.
I was hallucinating so hard that first night. I swear to God, I had a vision of Finn just sauntering into my room, hiking his shorts up.
Oh my
I
god.
fucking see that music playing. Like I was I don't know.
Kirby Bandana.
I would. Oh my God, this fucking you motherfucker! I missed you guys. That's the bottom line. Is the punchline is I missed you guys, and I'm glad to be back. I'm like 99% better.
I'm glad you're not dying.
I'm drinking alcohol, so I got to be better.
You'll be when you're done with it.
We have a few things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Mario and his foray into the movies. We're going to talk about people being pissed off about Peach with a halberd, or a pike, or whatever that melee weapon she's wielding is. We are going to talk about.
You see, it's actually evolved, and
Yep. We're going to talk about, I guess, FromSoft Crunch. We're going to talk about Nintendo and Panda and Smash tournaments. But first, we are going to talk about what we've been playing this week. I'll go first. I replayed Dino Crisis.
That's why you texted me that.
What's that?
Which one?
What was that, Brett?
Oh, I said it. Yeah, I saw you fall through the floor.
Yeah. It was. I'm playing a ROM of it on my Steam Deck, and every time you pause, like she just like Regina just sinks into the floor endlessly. It's really weird. But aside from that, it made Dino Crisis. I felt like replaying Dino Crisis, so I was having a good time doing that. And I also played. I'm playing Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered. Thank you, Square, for the code. I did a stream of that a couple nights ago. It's a good time. It's a great looking PS2 era game. It's a much more. I mean, it's still very much a Saga game, but it's a more of a traditional RPG than your standard.
It's a PS2 game.
It's a remastered PS2 game.
Oh, don't tell me that. Even to JRPG.
No.
Yeah, don't tell me.
I love Saga's not your thing.
CJ. Oh man, damn.
CJ, don't do that. I normally have to shill Square here, but this shit is not for you. This is not meant for you, CJ. You don't know nothing about this. You don't know nothing about Saga. It's like CJ walking in on a room full of guys playing JRPGs instead of playing poker, and they just kind of turn around like Dewey Cox. He's like, you don't know nothing about this, CJ.
Oh yeah, I want to try it.
Like, you don't know nothing about this, CJ. You don't want to know nothing about this. But no, that's what I got. Derek.
Over this past week, well, I haven't been playing too much because I've been kind of busy in general anyway. But also, like, we were waiting on maybe a review code that I don't think we ended up getting.
No, we didn't.
So I kind of just played some Super Robot Wars. I know. Well, whatever. It's fine. I've been playing Super Robot Wars 30 again. I never ended up finishing it because they announced they were doing a bunch of DLC and all of it was going to get integrated to like the middle of the game. So I didn't want to do it twice anyway. And it's just been comfortable, right? I've gone on about how much I love the Super Robot Wars games. It's a combination of the tactical RPGs I love and the stupid giant robot anime that I'm a dummy fan of. And 30's good, and it's something that I can also see myself putting down, tomorrow when several big releases come out. And
Callisto Project comes out tomorrow.
Callisto Protocol's out tomorrow.
Or Protocol, yeah.
Yeah, Midnight Suns, I believe, is out tomorrow.
On PC. It's not on PC tomorrow.
On PC, right. But like Super Robot Wars 30 is something I came back to. I've been playing for a few days, and if I'm wherever I end up, I'm going to be pretty good to put it down for a while I play some other games, and then come back to it when I've burned through the new hotness.
Derek,
there's value in that in a game, right?
Are there really 29 previous Super Robot Wars games?
Oh, John, it's only called Super Robot Wars 30 because it's the 30th anniversary.
Okay,
there's like 50 something of these games.
Like when
okay, so it's actually they're actually underselling it.
It's ridiculous. Yes, there's so many of these fucking games.
CJ, what are you playing this week?
Okay,
CJ, by the
so-
way, is waiting on a big. We're getting a nice little review code here soon.
Ooh,
So
man, actually, because like I'm doing my list of like
Real gem of a review code.
yeah,
what I've been what is I made a list of like stuff I've already played that I would put in my top 10, and then the stuff I need to play, right? So that's in that bottom list. Really quickly before I list the big stuff I've been playing, because it's been 2 weeks since we've done like an official show. I bought and I started playing Pokemon Scarlet, which is my first mainline Pokemon game, and I'm enjoying it a lot. The visual, like, and the technical stuff, unacceptable.
it
Even
really
for the
is.
Switch, Switch, it's not enough to like make me like not enjoy it, because it runs as well as like other things. Like the actual like frame rate is fine, except when you like turn the camera occasionally, it'll like jitter a bit. But other than that, I'm enjoying it. I like the open-ended nature of it. I beat one gym, I beat one gang leader. I've caught my goal in this game is just to catch a bunch of Pokemon, because I like games that are about like hunting and like marking down like different things. So
Right.
I've enjoyed that aspect. It's good. I put it down for some other stuff. I finally finished Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
What a great fucking game, dude!
Man,
Just a great
2022. I
platformer.
got two of my favorite like platforming franchises to like do something different with their like with their formula. I love that game so much.
Are
What
you
a
doing
delight.
are you doing the additional endings and stuff like getting
No,
all
no.
the,
It was a copy from work, so I returned it as soon as I finished. Just like prioritize other stuff. There's a lot more. I have way more to go. It's funny. Like the only time I've ever felt compelled to 100% a game was this one, because I feel like this weird personal attachment to those Waddle Dees, and I'm like, I gotta save them all. Those poor guys are trapped in these cages, or like those ducks you gotta save.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurt. But overall, incredible. I love that. I like that it's just basically a 3D version of like Superstar, Star Allies. And some the boss fights are like, oh man. And then the big game I've been playing this week is on Tuesday. I got my review code for Need for Speed Unbound, and holy shit, Criterion's back. I am so fucking happy to report that this game.
I was just gonna say, CJ, the review situation for that game is so weird.
It's weird because like so initially if you pre-order a specific version of the game, you get 3 days early access, which is normal for these kinds of games, right? Especially a big online focus game. But then they seem to just kind of shadow drop it out of nowhere. As far as embargo details go, I asked like, oh, so what's the embargo situation for this when I got my code? And my editor told me most people got early access. Just talk about it. I'm like, all right. So here I am talking about it. It's great. I think if you played Need for Speed Heat, a lot of the best ideas from that game were transferred over. A lot of the similar layout and progression were there, except they don't separate into two different campaigns for day and night. Now it kind of bleeds into one big game, but it's I just got to the part where like the game starts. Like you do a prologue, you're introduced to the story, the game starts. It's like a weekly schedule of things you have to do. So you go in, you go around, drive around the day, avoid cops, bank whatever you earn, similar to Heat. Then you go back out the night, do the same thing, come back, that day's over. Then you got to prep for this big race at the end of the week. I'm like on the third day. It's a hard game too, to the point where I had to bump it down to like the easiest difficulty just to get through it for my review. Because if you bump it down to easy, you get more retries per race. Every week, you only get a limited number of retries per race, so it kind of like adds a lot of pressure. Other than that, it's good. It looks phenomenal. The actual aesthetics, the anime-esque like comic book aesthetics are great. All the characters are cel shaded. Look really stylish, but you get like these really hyper realistic looking cars too, which is like my favorite thing in the world, right? It's like this arcade racer that with like real cars. I can finally fit in a fucking Miata. And oh man, I'm trying, like there's just so much. And Criterion brought some of like their burnout stuff in here. Like you can do driveaways now if you like get into a really nasty crash, you can just drive away from it, and you'll still be you'll recoup whatever damage. It's pretty interesting. I still have a long way to go, but I'm just happy that one of my favorite dev. I don't have a favorite dev, right? But like if I were to put a list together, Criterion would be like in the top like 3. I'm just happy they got their chance to finally flex their muscles in a big game. I'm gonna be bummed if this game eventually bombs and they'll be back to doing fucking support for shit like Battlefield or something. That's sort of my big fear. But for now, I think everyone's talking about it pretty like positively. A lot of my mutuals on Twitter are enjoying it. So we'll see. Other than that, that's been it. I've been really busy. I'm still waiting on that other big review code we're getting, which is also probably going to be like the biggest time sink of like the.
I mean, it couldn't be a bigger time sink than Elden Ring was, but that fucking
you doubt our ability to waste time.
yeah. Britt, what you been playing this week? Britt, you're muted.
Yeah, we can't hear anything.
You.
It's out.
Britt's like, yeah, you are completely muted, Britt. You should click the unmute button.
Shut the fuck up, John. She's not muted because if she did, she'd have a mute icon like this.
She look. I know, Derek. It's a joke. It's a joke, Derek.
Hey Jeff, what you been playing?
Now?
Yes, there you are.
The moment
I try to move on to Jeff, Britt's like, "I'm back, motherfucker! Don't take this away from me."
Britt has to interject on Jeff. She can't.
It's fine. I deserve it.
No. You don't deserve it. Don't say that. Now you go.
Jeff,
I'll wait.
That
what you been
I
playing?
apologize, man. You don't deserve that.
So I played a lot of games recently, or a lot. I should say I spent a lot of time playing games. I think we didn't have a podcast last week. Is that when we did our little stream for Thanksgiving?
Mad Libs.
That seems correct.
That's a game.
You know,
God, yeah, we've had Thanksgiving since.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody ate. At least once.
I mean, since our last show, I started and finished God of War Ragnarok. It's hard to talk about too much. I might have to save it for like if we eventually do a review discussion because I don't know, like everything I would talk about is about the story, and I just don't really know what I'm supposed to like. I don't know what's a spoiler and what isn't.
Yeah.
I will say, so I replayed the first game right before this one a few weeks ago, so it's really fresh in my mind, and I had a really mixed experience with Ragnarok, and I haven't talked about it too much because I feel like everyone's really enjoying it, and I don't want to be the person like kind of being the buzzkill. I think like I think it's a very, very good game, but I didn't have a good experience with it. So like it's one of those things where like I can't tell what's the game and what's me. I thought the start was a little bit slow. The first section I talked about, I think I had just gotten very early on in the last podcast. And I said it was it felt like a little bit thin. But that definitely wasn't the case later in the game. Like a lot of shit happens, but I think I think the pacing is not as good at 2018. There's long sections where not much happens, or the dialogue feels very repetitive sometimes. Like they're kind of repeating the same things and topics, just to kind of have something. And that's the thing about the game that I found where I'm not one of these people to complain that like Sony games people don't shut up because I don't care. I like dialogue, but it felt like there was never a moment in the game where I just had quiet to kind of process everything that happened, and it only got worse as I got further into the game, and especially in the second half. It was almost like my brain fell out of sync with it where and the gameplay is whatever. Like I don't care about the level design. I'm not here for the gameplay. It's fine. Like I'm here for the story, right? I don't care about that stuff in games. I just mash R1 the whole time. I did find I think the problem I had was it was sensory overload. By the time I unlocked the 6th or 7th skill tree, my brain had just so far tuned out of trying to remember which buttons do which. There's different characters, different companions, and then different button modifiers for everything. And that's like, it's good depth for people who want it. And the game, the accessibility options are good enough. You don't need to know it. But I think I was fine with that. But then the same thing started happening with the story, where I felt like it was just one thing.
Some weird pacing sometimes.
It does, but it was just so much, and so much of it's delivered while you're climbing or while you're fighting and stuff like that. And I've talked about it before. If I'm like focusing on fighting enemies, I'm not hearing anything or reading anything. So I might have been missing some pieces, but I also think some stuff just wasn't clearly explained. I had trouble with some character motivations. Like there was a lot of points where I didn't really know what my objective is because there's so much going on. Where the first game, it's a very straightforward climbing the mountain to carry the ashes. A couple things happen, but there's so many characters in this. And I sound really negative, and I like, it's not like I obviously enjoyed it. Like I played through the whole thing in 2 weeks. But when I got to the ending, I think just all the big emotional moments didn't really hit because my brain was still trying to catch up, and I was still trying to understand what the hell is happening. Like, where am I? And I can't go in. It's really hard. Like I can't really explain it without going into spoilers. But it left me a little
We've
bit
almost hit a
disappointed.
month, so I would give it at least until next week.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm never going to talk about big story details on the podcast. I'll talk about it in the review discussion, but
Yeah.
and I need some time to process it. I think, like I asked some questions after I finished it, a lot of people answered. I think if I replayed it in a few years, when fresh, without with knowing what I know now, and it's the same thing when I watch movies. Sometimes things are a little bit clearer the second time around. I think I would enjoy it a lot more, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I was on board for the most of the middle part of the game, and the end was just it was just a lot. It's a very dense game. I think someone on the Discord described it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, either way, it's a good game. And I've also, since I finished that, I've been playing a lot of Harvestella, and man, that game is good. That game is it's the opposite God of War. It is not very dense. There's not a lot going.
See, Jeff, I fucking told you this was your shit.
There's
I
not a
told
lot
Jeff,
going on in this game.
Am I gonna like Harvestella?
I don't know your tastes well enough, Derek, to say. I don't know.
I've kept it confusing. That's a
yeah.
win.
Jeff, I like garbage and wasting my money.
Yeah.
Am I gonna like Harvestella?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's all about the vibes. Like I talked about that before. It's just pleasant, and I talked about that on the review Britt and I did. It's just pleasant to hang out there. So like the quests are like not deep. The dialogue is not deep. The characters are not deep, but it's very simple. It's very easy to just play 30 or 60 minutes at a time.
Speaking the language.
Yeah, there's not a lot of system there, but I am like, I just finished the first big chapter in the game, and I talked about it before where like it felt like there wasn't much to the systems, but definitely they have very deliberately paced how you unlock stuff. There's a lot of farming elements that I think that's probably going to be the end game, is the actual farming. I gave up trying to sell crops and stuff. Just doing quests is the easiest way to make money. But yeah, it's a super cute, charming game. I paid $85 with it after tax. I don't know if it's worth that much. I mean, if you got lots of money, power to you. But I definitely think if anyone likes like the aesthetic and thinks it looks cute from the trailers, definitely keep an eye out for a sale. I think it's worth a shot.
So, I wanted to expound on something. I wanted to kind of bounce off what Jeff was saying earlier, and also kind of build on something that our friend Nick was saying in chat, which is, and I'm glad this was mentioned, because I had wanted to talk about it real quick, and I'm in my COVID haze, I had kind of forgotten about this shit. But as somebody who finished Ragnarok, I liked it. I feel like it could have been 10 hours shorter. I just feel like it was too long. I feel like it was too long. And I don't think from a mechanic standpoint, it fundamentally did enough to evolve the formula from God of War. That being said, it has the absolute best characterization of any God of War character out of the entire franchise. And without getting into spoilers, the standouts for me were obviously Kratos, but also Thor, the evolution of his character. Yeah, I knew Britt would approve. But Thor and
big boy season.
Thor there is more to Thor. There is more to Thor than there was. Let's just say that.
I didn't realize this was going to become a God of War review podcast.
Well, I just, I hadn't really had a chance to talk about it, to be honest with you.
That's true. That's fair.
But there is more to Thor than the trailers would have you believe.
It's cool to see, how much broader of a character he is. Like, I really liked. I think I'd echo a lot of Jeff's criticisms. Maybe like not quite as harsh, because like broadly, I liked my time with the story. I thought the pacing was all over the fucking place, and I would spend too long of sections of plot where we were like kind of going over the same course. Now that meant I got more time to just have these characters interact, which is, I think, part of where the writing is its best. Like, you just want to hear some of these conversations between, Kratos and Mimir, and with, Brock and Sindri and so forth. Any of these characters that come along with
like
you.
Brock and Sindri were actually like so some of my favorite character moments,
You
especially
can't
since
spell Brock
Yeah.
without bro.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I will say like there are sections of the game like I'm thinking particularly about the stretch with Angerboda that just went on way too long.
Oh yeah, I agree with
Um,
that part. Like, let's
like-
go collect things for
Which is
5
unfortunate, 'cause-
hours.
Yeah, it's like
She's
come
so
on,
cute.
guys. Like,
She's
They
one of
c-
my favorite
they
characters.
needed
in
more
that
She
more
is.
time with her, but like you could find other ways to do that. It's just, I don't know.
I feel like a lot of games now, like they want to drip feed you so much exposition in the middle of gameplay and without it being, because it's just like, all right, well, we'll walk for a few minutes and we're just gonna dump all this fucking, garbage on you, right? Like, and I feel like that's the
Right.
problem with a lot of like the major first party Sony games where it's just like, all right, it's climb, and in that climbing, I'm gonna explain all my motivation.
Here's a textbook.
Here's a fucking textbook. You know what I'm saying, and all this stuff.
I mean, I like a lot of these games, but I'll admit it.
Well, and it's like, again, I'm only like 6 hours in, and I talked about like I think I'm like the most mixed on between all of us, but like the best moments were the side stuff where it was just Mimir kind of talking about like his guilt over everything, and then and then after that, everything else just felt like I was being ham-fisted. Some of the most like no person talks like this. No person just sits there and tells
Right.
me all the
Yeah.
like confesses all this horrible stuff to me while I'm just trying to pick berries or fucking find like gold somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like the most video gamey way to like deliver story. You know what I'm saying? Deliver story. Maybe that's why I avoid like games with like story. I don't know.
Well, so I feel like we've probably
Wait, hold up, Britt. What have you been playing?
Oh, Brittany. I thought Britt had already gone. Britt, please. What have you been playing this week?
First, you try to fucking mansplain me about my microphone, and then you just casually dismiss me like I'm
Britt,
not
yeah.
even
a
here.
joke.
Yeah.
The microphone thing was a joke.
Go.
I know.
It was a
Go.
joke.
See
Britt.
that? Like I
Get
can
his
sound mad and
ass.
angry, but I'm really not.
Get his ass.
Yo,
So,
he said he was an
um,
ally. Go
Get
for it.
my
Go
ass.
for it. Go,
It's
go.
fine.
Go.
It's
He said
fine.
you're an
He said he was an
I've-
ally. Go.
I've been playing God of War. I'm doing endgame stuff right now. I've kind of fizzled out of it because I've been doing the Berserker King and I'm just not good at it. Like I was doing so good. I was taking 1 to 2 tries on all the Berserkers, and then I got to the King and I'm just getting my ass whooped. So I'm kind of taking a little break because I got burnt out. But
Those the new Valkyries, like the new. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been playing Fortnite to try to get the Gwen skin before tomorrow. And I went from level 30 to 96 in like 2 days. So I've been
What's
spamming out Fortnite and what else? A little bit of Overwatch.
Oh shit! I forgot about Overwatch.
What?
I said,
What?
oh shit! I forgot about Overwatch.
Okay, it was weird. You said like, "Oh shit," and then,
And
like,
then,
you completely
yeah.
cut out.
Oh,
See, am I
was like,
am I the only one good at keeping up with the multiplayer game he chose this year? All right, and I've been putting in the work playing Modern Warfare 2 every single day.
And
Come
you don't
on,
even
people.
like that fucking game.
Oh, I love Modern Warfare 2, baby. It's the greatest game of the year.
It's the base he doesn't like. But yeah, just real quick on God of War, because I let y'all talk about it and I didn't want to interrupt because I knew my turn was coming, or so I thought, John.
man, whatever.
Laying in. Let's go. Let's go.
Fine, that's fine. Fucking, I can take it.
He's
Fucking
letting
bring
the
that shit.
podcast numbers on
Get
Spotify get
his
to his head.
ass.
You gotta bring him down. You gotta bring him down.
I'll be really quick though because I know we have important topics to talk about. But it was, for me, one of the best games I've played in a long time, and you know, the combat didn't change. But I don't really think it needed to because the first kind of like solidified that. They added a new thing to it, but I think it was like I do feel it's a little too much. There's like a lot going on, and I feel like in order to, I guess at the point where I'm at really like do good in the game, you probably have to master all those things, and I don't really. I just kind of swing and hope for the best. Like I don't really plan out my moves. Like I'm really bad with the like, okay, press R2 or R1 3 times and then press R2 for a follow up. Like I'm really bad at that shit. But it was just a very cathartic game for me. I really connected with it. I really enjoyed it. It made me, like, I posted this on Twitter, but I said it's made me, like, it's been the best distraction, and it's made me, like, the happiest I've been in a long time. Especially with how they handle Freya. I fucking loved that. I loved her scene at the very end of the game. And I just in Thor, oh my god, I fucking loved Thor. Like the new addition of the characters were so good.
I loved Sif the way you love Thor.
I mean, I love them both the way I love both. But yeah, I really loved it. I am excited for the next one, and I really just want to give a shout out to the voice actors and motion captures, because it was it was phenomenal. Chris Judge is Kratos is some of the best voice acting I think I've heard in any video game. The Atreus voice actor, he was just a kid when he started the series, and he's really good at delivering his lines and everything.
Yep.
So it's a very immersing game for me, and I loved it, and I just loved getting lost in it. So I'll talk about the rest on the after hours.
So what is our first big topic tonight? What did you guys want to tackle? Do you want to talk about Nintendo and Panda, Derek, or do you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit that one first.
Why don't you kick that off, Derek? Because this is like your wheelhouse, man.
Here's the sad thing is I have fucking Smash community PTSD, and I don't want it to be my wheelhouse. Anyways, the long and short of it is,
you gotta be the greatest game with the absolute worst community.
The Smash World Tour. I don't even want to get into it. The Smash World Tour, which is a large circuit of tournaments, they put out a statement recently that they were being forced by Nintendo to shut down. Presumably, Nintendo sent them a cease and desist. You know, hey, look, you were trying to run events and make money off of our video game. It's foggy legal room as to whether or not they can do it. But, like, if you're running a series of game tournaments, like, do you really have the money to even try to stand up in court with Nintendo? No. So effectively, they basically just get to threaten you out of that space. But they not only claimed that... They not only explained that Nintendo had forced them to cancel all these tournaments, which was going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. There were tons of people who planned their travel around going to tournaments to qualify for this circuit. So their plans were interrupted. But that a lot of this potentially was orchestrated by Panda Global, who is the, correct me if I'm wrong, only major licensed tournament circuit that Nintendo is actually affiliated with. So, well, this gets weird if you're not a fighting game person, right? Because most esports, if they're shooters, are embraced by the companies who make the games, right? Overwatch has Overwatch League. If you're playing like Call of Duty, Activision wants esports
that publicity, yeah.
That. Right. But the fighting games are weird. And it's only kind of recently that fighting game publishers have really embraced being involved with their community. But
could it be a Japanese thing specifically? Or could it be just
on a upper corporate level? Yeah, 100%. But y'all derailed me. I'm trying to remember where I was at in my explanation.
Sorry.
You were talking about what Panda is.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's right. And I know
Panda Global is a really well-known tournament organizing group. They've been in the game for a long time. But there's a lot of people been coming out with stories of their kind of shady conduct. Nintendo, I'm back on the track. I don't remember where I was. companies like Capcom now embrace the fighting game community to the point that you have like the Capcom Pro Tour, right? Where like they're hosting the tournaments. They have these huge pot buy-ins that they put the money into because they understand that the popularity of that enthusiast and esports crowd builds the games up to the point that everybody's willing to buy them. Nintendo is like 10, 15 years behind a lot of these companies like Capcom when it comes to the embracing of any kind of professional community. Nintendo did just in the last year or two open up to allowing tournament organizers to like get their series officially licensed so that, you know, the Smash World Tour would have been like a Nintendo sponsored series of events. But as you can probably guess, the actual qualifications and the process with Nintendo is lengthy. It is not very transparent, and there's no clear reasons why, you know, anybody would get approved. I think that's why Panda Global right now is the only one approved. But I've seen a couple TOs come out with allegations that Panda Global has basically done the like, well, you should, you know, sign your events on with us or partner with us because like it would sure suck if, you know, something like that happened to, you know, cause you to not get, you know, approved in the future. It was very, very sketchy, very like racket kind of deal.
Derek, I've got a question about all this. Didn't they say that Nintendo had like completely blessed off on this? Like, didn't they say that Nintendo was like, no, we talked with Nintendo, they're cool. We're running our Smash tournament.
They were in talks, right? They had a bit of a run-in with Nintendo. Nintendo had come and said like, hey, you know, we really need y'all to be like to go through like our affiliate process and become an officially licensed series if you want to keep operating at the level that you're operating. And they had every intention of going through the process. These tournament organizers were trying to go through the process, but I mean, it's been months and months and months, and there's been no feedback. And, you know, again, no clear-cut communication on what it is that they still needed to do, you know, what even the qualifications would have been in the first place. And then just kind of last minute Nintendo went, nah, this isn't going to work. Shut down all your tournaments. So.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. Britt sent me a tweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over here trying
I'm
to
gonna enjoy
shit.
reading that one later, I'm sure.
You're not supposed to spill my secrets on stream, Joan.
The long and the short of it
talking about the tweet. I'm just saying you sent me the tweet. Anyway, Derek, please continue. Sorry, I got
long
distracted.
and the short of it is that while companies like Capcom embrace and even financially support the esports that have popped up around their games, Nintendo is incredibly inflexible with the existing tournament structure. I mean, it's not until I'm not as familiar with the history of Pokemon, but like Pokemon, right? Big Pokemon tournaments, you got to be part of the VGC. You got to go through them. Otherwise, they shut you down. And they kind of want Smash to work the same way. Once you get above like a little local, regional, you know, once you start getting up there, they want you to be either in Nintendo or out of it.
So
this is a very weird and aggressive way to do things to shut down tournaments of games. Like on a base
Nintendo's
level,
notorious for this shit though. I don't agree with shutting the tournament down, but at the same time, like, you know, the way Nintendo is, and you're gonna call it the Smash Brothers tournament. Like, I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's weird because this hasn't really been happening up until this point with like Smash tournaments in the way that Nintendo has always been out for like fan games or improper use of their merchandise or like logos and stuff. So I think that's what's weird is it does feel like an escalation kind of. And it's an escalation that it's hard to delineate. Like, you want to enforce it at what level, right? Like, at what point are you too big? Because I helped run one of the largest, it was Kentucky's biggest fighting game tournament organization for Smash Brothers. And like, at what point would that have gotten too big?
You could say that Derek was the king of Kentucky Smash.
No,
He was-
absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Please do not. Don't put me, John. Don't put me back in there with them.
Noted Smash promoter.
Don't
Derek
put
Van
me
Dyke.
back in there with them. I can't go back.
Who did you main, Derek? That's what I want to know.
Actually, yeah, who is your Smash main
Mostly
in general?
Ike.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Ah, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Gotta be Samus.
Hell yeah.
I'm a Samus
Hell
fan.
You've got
yeah.
on board. But like,
Young Link, baby.
but it sucks ass that a lot of people worked their asses off organizing a series of tournaments, which is a thing that
that's the part
has
that-
been fine up until now, right? And now these, and I gotta tell you, TOs do a lot of work for like no fucking money for what goes into it. These are not exactly well-paid people by the time they've cashed out the hours they put into running these events. But like, not only they had a lot of money, you've got a lot of competitive people for whom this is their passion, who have lost out on their entire plans for how they were, going to compete for the year and make money for the year.
Sucks. That's what people don't
Being
understand.
a TO was my Grenada. Thank you, John. That's good.
I think that's one thing I just want to say real quick that people don't understand about like when things like these get canceled or interfered with. It's not like people just can't play video games. It's like people do this shit professionally for a living. Like they depend on like certain amount of incomes or like to at least they expect some kind of income to come in from going to it, right? It's
Yeah.
just like competing in any other league or sport or whatever. And I feel bad for these people, like I feel bad that their livelihood is being fucked around with like this. It's not okay.
Yeah,
Well, and like this isn't coming back, right? Like we don't expect this thing to survive now, right? Like now that Nintendo is kind of
no, absolutely not. And I mean, if the TOs even, I can bet most of them probably wouldn't even want to continue organizing tournaments after this, because why would you take that risk of trying again when you've been through that? I mean, it's that or they just switch to full blown FGC because Capcom, Bandai Namco are different. This probably explains why Smash isn't at EVO or wasn't at EVO. I think a lot of us assumed that it was because Sony had bought EVO, but in retrospect, it's probably just Nintendo not wanting to play ball.
that
Yeah.
sucks, man. Like
It's
I
a
mean,
very
that's
Nintendo
100%
thing.
Nintendo though.
This is kind of where I think it was Jeff earlier bringing up, like, is it like these companies, being, it's because of the old crusty octogenarian Japanese men who are the boards of directors, who decide everything but don't understand, the way that the business works at this level, the way that like customer engagement works, that, they're stuck in 20-year-old rules.
So, I mean, what's the way forward here, Derek? Like what if any?
Look at what
options these guys
Capcom's
have?
doing
Like,
and then get there now, or just stop interfering at all, right? Like
that's not going to happen. It's
There's
fucking
no need
Nintendo,
for
dude.
Nintendo
Like,
to do that.
Nintendo's incredible because they're like they have to be one of the most backwards ass companies when it comes to like easy
They're
ways
like
to make
Disney
money.
but shitty.
Yeah,
No,
Smash
like-
is just like the biggest fucking like fighting game, I would say. Like you can't get bigger than Smash and the
Smash.
multiplayer. Like it's crazy that they're
But,
so
like, professional bag fumblers, man. Come on, like in the straight up. Look,
Oh.
what is it? They won't release
Yeah.
fucking ROMs on their fucking like the easiest fucking ROMs
Yeah,
they own on
they
their
don't
fucking
want you to have
consoles.
it either.
Exactly. They'll fucking hunt you down if you put like Mario on your fucking kid's gravestone. The fucking
Why would you
they're
put Mario?
I don't know.
on your
Anyway,
kid's
but this tournament stuff
shit.
seems like the weird. I'm fucking drunk. Anyway, the Smash stuff seems like the weirdest, right? It seems like the easiest way. Look, there's this community of like people who want to play your game. They're paying lip service to your fucking game that's still selling, right? I
Yeah.
don't get why you can't let them do your thing and you reap all these benefits. What's the most? These fighting game players aren't going to make that much money. They're not going to infringe on whatever you're on your game, right? Same thing with the organizers. Same
They
thing
don't
with
care. They want all the money.
They
It's
want
the
all the
same
money.
reason why
This is a
Nintendo
lesson
games
that-
don't go on sale
This
for
is a
like
lesson that's so many of these companies have been through by now. And the problem is that Nintendo, I love them. I love their games. I shouldn't say
me
I love
too.
them. Never love a company, but I love a lot of the designers who work at Nintendo, those creative teams. I love the games that they create. But
All right, let's
speaking of Nintendo.
well, I
I'll
was going
save
to
that for
suggest
the end.
let's move on to let's talk about Mario, and then let's talk about the Final Fantasy 16 rating because we've got to fit that in there.
I'm not gonna
Leave
say
it
my
to John
joke
to
that I
just
said.
invent a topic partway through the podcast.
No, we mentioned it. You know what?
No,
Yeah.
we mentioned
Props
it.
that we mentioned it in the group chat. All right.
I'm not. Look, I don't control the guardrails tonight. I'm just here vibing.
So
You're pooing.
the second
You're Winnie the Poohin'.
That's a totally
the-
different thing. And I am wearing pants. Thank you very much.
That's a shame.
the second Super Mario Brothers movie trailer dropped the other day. So all right, like one, I find it incredible. So I don't know if you guys saw this tweet, but some right-wing incel, some chud.
Stop, John. I
No,
can't.
no, no, no.
We can't
Hold
have the
on.
beginning of a topic
It's
No,
a
for the
no,
fucking
show.
kids
Start
movie.
with
It's a
John
fucking
going.
kids movie.
I
You
don't
guys-
know if you saw
No.
this tweet, but
No,
there's this
hold on.
right winger.
Hold on.
This
This guy
the
was
most
this
John
guy-
sentence anyone
Hold
could ever
on,
create.
hold on. Because this guy
Not.
tweeted out a picture of Rainbow Road from the trailer and was like, I can't believe they went woke. And it's like, dude, it's a fucking Mario.
It's actually really funny. No,
it's like,
no,
wait,
you know
that's okay,
what?
Derek. That's
Like-
okay.
Like, wait, hold on a minute. Like,
I'm just
Mario
picturing.
went-
I'm
Okay,
picturing
so
someone
why-
in the theater sitting down to
While
watch the movie,
While he's
and
finding that, let me just go ahead and kick us off here. So
all right.
the Mario trailer came out, and it specifically so the last trailer we got Bowser, we got Mario, we got Toad, a lot of Bowser, which is great because looks like he's going to be one of the best characters. And then in this trailer we got a little bit more of little bit more insight of what the movie's going to be. So we got to look at Peach, we got to look at more Toads, we got some Luigi interactions, and it looks fine, right?
Luigi Interaction is the name of my ska band.
Shut the fuck
Can
up,
you
Derek.
shut the fuck up, Derek? Can you just
You just got
roll
Luigi.
yourself back? Take a minute.
Continue, Britt. Continue.
I never no. I never take the reins on conversations, and I finally did the first time. And Derek's like, "Look at my band."
You forgot to mention Donkey Kong, but all right.
Oh yeah, Donkey Kong was there. Yeah, but you didn't hear him. That's the piece everybody was looking
You
for.
saw him. You saw my boy. That's all that mattered. You saw my
All
boy
right.
slapping the shit out of Chris Pratt. That's all we needed.
Well, Princess Peach was a big highlight of this trailer. Bless Nintendo for giving us that content, that sweet capital C content. And she kind of looked like she knew what she was doing, and she looked like she was going to be more of a main character than Mario. It looks like Mario was kind of her support character. And people didn't like that, but not only did they not like that, they didn't like the fact that she was a fighter and kind of stood up for herself, specifically that she had a halberd or a pike or
halberd. Like, she's ready to kill. Like,
right. And they're like, I've read so much stupid, like, I've tried to avoid it, and because I knew as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, people are gonna be mad about that because she's not the damsel. Like, first, it's a 1 second clip from a fucking trailer. We have no idea what's gonna happen to
For a
Peach.
movie for babies, you guys gotta relax. These people were
First of all,
Right.
CJ,
And-
you shut
It's
the
a-
fuck up, CJ.
It's
You
a
shut the
movie
fuck up.
for like kids, but you
know
guys,
what?
Come
You know
on.
what? You're
Sorry,
a fucking
Britt, I don't mean-
baby.
I,
You're a
100.
baby.
I guess. Britt, I'm sorry. Britt, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What, are we babies? Are you calling us babies, or the people who are
100
complaining?
no, we can enjoy the movie,
no.
but it is made for babies.
It's literally made for baby. It is if like anyone is sincerely posting about this movie, angry or have any strong
Right.
feelings over a movie. No, just in general, like any strong feelings. You're posting about this movie like 3 times a day.
I'll send
on
you a
Twitter.
4-hour video
CJ,
essay later.
CJ, keep
Yeah,
saying that.
yeah.
I'm sure people love hearing it.
What 100%. Look, it's a movie for fucking. I went and saw the Sonic movie at a press screening. I was the oldest person there with no kids. I have all the fucking like high ground on this. I know what it's like. You guys got to relax. Brit, 100%. I agree.
Eagerly awaiting your 3,000 word essay about Avatar 2 when it comes out.
Straight up. Hey, who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who
Derek.
said that?
Derek. That was Derek.
Yeah.
That was you? Bro. All right, we'll talk about Way of the Water like in 2 weeks. Man, don't get me started. I was at work today, just hyped up on it. Go, Brit, go. Go, Brit.
So,
please continue.
What I'm annoyed about is the fact that people are saying that Peach is not girly enough. And the way that they are describing her girliness is by fighting with a frying pan. Why would a frying pan make her more girly? Can anybody tell me why that would make her more girly?
I don't want to.
Okay, thank you.
It's something.
It's an implication that women deserve to be or belong in the kitchen and should be making food. So that's why she deserves a frying pan. They're saying that she should have used her parasol instead because she used that as a weapon. They're saying that she should have used her little fans that she has. Because all of those things make you more girly, apparently. So what I need to do is just walk around with a fucking frying pan, apparently, because people aren't going to know that I'm girly unless I do that, right?
I've got some people you could hit with a frying pan that I would appreciate if you did that.
Tom and Jerry ass weapon.
Right.
Frying pan's a top tier weapon in PUBG. I'll tell you when you.
Anyway, so that's just my big complaint. It's just like.
I think they should,
like CJ said, it's a kids movie. First off,
it really is, man. Like if you're this passionate about it, I don't know, go fucking touch grass.
Sure, it's a kids movie, but let's not forget she's walking around in her Mario Kart outfit carrying a fucking halberd.
I guess.
Like she's gonna like.
And
I was gonna make the Dragoon
11,
joke before Jeff did in chat. But like, she's gonna fucking gore somebody.
It would be
It's a kids movie, but it has Jack Black, Charlie Day, and Seth Rogen in it.
Of course, yes, and I'm sure all the 11-year-olds who are gonna go see it are hyped, man. They're hyped to hear those names.
Listen,
I'm sure of it.
As like to kind of bounce off what CJ's saying, like as many gripes as I have with Chris Pratt, with just all that mainly Chris Pratt.
Sorry.
Let's be right. Okay, so as much as I don't like Chris Pratt as Mario, my son is so fucking excited to see this movie.
It's all that
matters. He is so, like, he watched the trailers. He keeps asking when we're gonna go see it. Like, he just turned 6. This is like the highlight of his fucking year. He loves Mario. He wants to go see this movie. So at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter what I feel about it. It's like if he enjoys the movie, that's it. That's all that's gonna matter.
If you're above the age of 25 posting about this earnestly, let's reevaluate it.
CJ, do you want my opinion?
Tell you though.
Hold on.
Yes,
Wait, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. Give me your opinion. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. Come on, hit me.
The movie looks good. It looks fun.
I didn't say it.
I have no attachment to the. I have no real attachment to the Mario characters. You know, those are games that I go around and I hop around.
I kind of do. I base my whole,
Yeah, I know. But like for me, like I'm not big on like. It's like it looks awesome. Like I watched the trailer with Christine, with my wife, and we're like, this looks fucking amazing.
It looks amazing, and Anya Taylor-Joy
good.
Is
it looks
a great
funny.
Peach.
Like it just looks like a good fun adventure. And we lost our shit at the end with the reveal of the Mario Kart that it's like canon in the movie. Like maybe everyone is expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. They're to put a fucking Mario Kart race in the movie, but of course they did. So
Jeff, no, you're wrong. Like I will definitely watch this because one, I fucking hate money. So I'll gladly spend money to go see this movie.
I'll go to the fancy theaters with the seats where they bring you food.
Oh, dude, I'll go to the fucking Dolby Theater. Are you kidding? Get that
movie
fucking
tavern?
crisp. But like,
100%.
I'll watch this. I love Mario.
I'm gonna fly to Texas and see this shit at the Alamo Draft House.
But
oh my god,
you've got
an Alamo Draft House near you, don't you?
You have an Alamo Draft House near you, John? What the fuck was I doing at your house?
Right,
I have no fucking idea. I have no fucking idea. Here's my thing.
Okay, go ahead. John,
go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
Because
go ahead.
I've been an asshole. Go ahead, John, please.
You have not been an asshole. So here's where I'm at. I think Chris Pratt sucks as Mario. I wasn't as enamored with Charlie Day in that trailer as Luigi as I thought I would be.
It wasn't my idea of like what Luigi would be as a character.
Jack
It just-
Black as Bowser is a fucking revelation. Like, he's so good. He's just
He's so good.
they even like made him look like Jack Black, which is fucking wild, but it still looks like Bowser. Here's my thing. I think because so one of the promo images that leak were Mario and Luigi standing in the middle of a street in Brooklyn, in New York, and there's like normal people, like normal ass looking people.
They're
walking
not that
around.
normal.
They're pretty fucking normal.
Pauline's in the background.
Compared to the little like gremlin creatures that
Sure,
Mario
but that's
and Luigi
New
are.
Donk City.
Yeah,
No, it's New York.
John thought we were gonna get a live action
Okay,
Mario.
no, hold up.
No, it's New York. There's a
John,
sign that says Brooklyn.
That's
Well,
what
no, I
New
mean,
Yorkers
it's-
look like.
No,
I mean that
So-
it is
so-
aesthetically exactly the same as the way they approach New Donk City.
but it's New York. It's not.
you
New
thought
Donk
you were
City.
gonna get
It's not New-
photorealistic
no,
ass
no, this
live
is not what
action.
we're gonna
You
get.
saying that made me laugh. New
Here is what
Donk
we're gonna get. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna Mario and Luigi are gonna be two normal ass looking humans who fall into a fucking manhole or some shit, and they're
And they're still
transported to the
normal ass
mushroom.
looking on the other side because that's how they were born.
that's not what fucking people. That is not what people in the
Let
background
me introduce you
look
to
like.
the concept
No.
of New Donk fucking City,
Dude,
John.
people
It
in
was
New
the
Donk
last
City look like
story.
regular humans.
So
That's
guys, remember
the
when
point.
okay, hold up. Remember a couple seconds ago when I said, "Hey, if you're talking earnestly about this fucking movie as an adult, you got to
No,
reevaluate your
CJ,
fucking." No, hold up.
CJ,
You
doesn't
reevaluate.
fucking matter,
look,
CJ.
Look in yourself, John. Look deep in yourself.
CJ.
Is this what you want to do? Is
CJ,
this
I'm
what
not
you wanna-
saying it. I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing. I just think it's fucking weird. That's all. I'm
Kids,
not
there's
ready
this
for
great thing
fucking.
there's a
I'm
great thing
not
called grass.
ready.
It's free. Just go fucking
I'm
touch
not-
that shit.
I am not ready. I am not ready for just like a normal ass looking, like 6'2" Mario walking around.
But it's like,
it's just-
he's not gonna
it's
look
just-
like that. He's gonna look
Yes,
the
he
way
will.
he looks.
Yes,
no,
he will.
Man.
No, guarantee you. Guarantee you. He's gonna fall into a fucking manhole, and he's just gonna like turn into like the little goblin looking motherfucker that he is in the game.
There's a like super
How
like
are you serious about
like
this?
look I don't know.
Just
All I know
saying.
is there's like a split second where Funky Kong appeared in like the Mario Kart segment. I thought that was sick.
Was
that's
he
my-
there? Was Funky
Yeah.
Kong there?
Yeah,
No
that's
shit.
my boy.
Can we talk about what a fucking badass
I just
Cranky
love
Kong
the-
looks like?
yeah.
I just love that. Like, I watched the trailer. I was like, wow, the Rainbow Road's cool, and Peach has a weapon. That's awesome. And John's here, like, those humans in the background. that something's not right.
He's trying to analyze like, okay, what if everyone in that version
You
here
know-
got affected by some nuclear waste that and then that's the movie. That's the
like they all just shrunk. Like everybody got stuck in the washing machine and got dried on too high of a heat, and that's what happened to all the Mushroom Kingdom people.
it's the washing machine from Mario plus Rabbids, and then
It reminds me. Did you ever see that interview with Bob Hoskins when he was talking about his experience?
Oh yeah, where he found out
yeah.
when he realized
Yeah,
it
he's
was a
like-
video game.
he's like
lost it.
Yeah, he had no idea it was a game. He's like, and then my son tells me, "Oh yeah, no, it's the game." And I see this little guy jumping up and down, and I'm like,
It's a terrible
to-
Bob Hoskins.
whatever. I can't do Bob Hoskins. And he's like, I used to play King Lear, and it was just the darkest shit. It was
Meanwhile,
so fucking
what is
funny.
it? Do you guys remember that the interview or like the direct that Chris Pratt did where he talked about like stomping on Goombas or Koopas, and it sounded like the worst slur you've ever heard come out of his mouth? I think it was like when the first teaser came out, like Koopas, and he said it like with the fucking like hard A at the end of it. Like that we got that.
DJ.
Woo!
Anyway, guys, look, listen. My 2 cents on this. It looks fine. Go take your son. I hope he has the fucking best time.
I hope he has the
100%.
best time.
I hope
he has the best
this
Yeah.
shit is like all he talks about. I hope it's like the
It'll
sickest
be
thing
his
in the world.
entire personality for like a day.
Good for him. Tell that little man he has all my respect. Hell yeah.
Let's not
Oh.
go that far.
All right. So let's talk about Final Fantasy 16's mature rating. Because apparently Final Fantasy 16 is being rated mature for sex, drug use, and hate crimes.
So basically, it's two things like every gamer like loves, and then one thing they can't have.
Well, considering
What's the
there's
thing
not
they
going to be
can't
any
have?
diversity in the game,
Sex.
then the hate crimes in this game would be what
Aren't
now?
looking good. I was gonna say that. Yeah.
We're gonna
It's
have
it's the scene from The Sopranos where we're talking about anti-Italian discrimination.
So I feel like the sex stuff was foreshadowed, right? Because like there was a moment in the last trailer where there's like, two people like just kind of chilling naked in bed.
I don't know what sex looks like, John.
Yeah, like like I don't like everybody's making a big deal about it. I'm like, okay, like
Is
do you know how many games have fucking sex in them? Like
I think I asked this in person, but is this the first mainline numbered like Final Fantasy game to be rated M?
I think
I believe so.
Because it was like what was the other one? The PSP when they got ported. Like
Final Fantasy 12 might be M.
12?
I don't mean to derail it, but did you guys see the post? It was like 16 will include hate crimes, drugs, prostitution. Then someone was just like, "Wow, they're putting the Limsa Aetheryte Plaza into 16."
Yeah, like what? So what I want, like, okay, like sex, fine, whatever. Like what? Who cares? It's sex. The hate crime shit. I'm like, okay, exactly what does this fucking entail?
Well, like contextually, that could mean so many different things, right? Because like if it's just wild that that's an entry on the tag, but
even then, what country's rating system was this? Because if it's I'm saying different countries with different standards.
I think it was the United. I think it was like North America. Like
I don't think it's the ESRB. I don't think so. Wouldn't it be closer?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna actually pull it up because
We should
Like
probably do
within
that.
the context of Final Fantasy, like even though we don't have to get into it, 16 is obviously not, it's not striving too hard for ethnic diversity, but there are nations fighting, and they're simply a crime against someone because of their nationality, regardless of color, skin, could be considered a hate crime in the context of the game, in the context of Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy has different races, different kingdoms, things like that, right? So I mean, it's pretty open ended in terms of what it could
racist against
constitute.
a chocobo.
One could also argue that given the lack of melanin in the game, it's already committed a hate crime.
so
One could argue that.
So yes, it is the first M-rated Final Fantasy game.
Mainline.
The mainline game, the first M-rated mainline game,
It was
and that
rated
is due
this for
to
Portugal.
what they are saying for.
Okay, then yeah.
What this is, and so they're saying that these are being depicted realistically, sex scenes, intentional deaths, torture scenes depicting suffering, drug use, prostitution, sexual content that is shown,
Oh, fuck yeah, I'm in.
and hate crimes.
Oh hell yeah, bro.
I mean,
Let's
that's just
fucking-
Metal Gear Solid 1. Like,
Yeah, like
I was literally just thinking Metal Gear Solid when he was talking about the torture. I was thinking about the snake in.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
So,
ta-da.
So,
not-
and I just to point out, I'm quoting from the Kotaku article here is the first one that came up. It said, it also says that last year Square Enix updated the guidelines for Final Fantasy XIV, allowing its users to partake in consensual and private erotic role playing, so long as it was conducted in a private area.
Oh,
so this isn't exactly like the first time.
Only
that,
after they add the male Vieira, I point out.
yeah, like although, and then the article goes on to say, granted, making love in Final Fantasy XIV for the romantics out there basically involves getting your squats in while being uncomfortably close to your special friend. But that gives me a really interesting.
Is that
mental picture.
before or after reaching level 60 on the levels in the free trial?
I mean, look, you can't have sex in Final Fantasy XIV until you hit level 60. Okay, that's the law.
So you start paying.
You do get to cop a titty at 25, though.
So this is the hate crime stuff, like Derek joking about how there's a lack of melanin in the game, but this does harken back to last month when Yoshida had that really, let's face it, inadequate, let's say, explanation as to why there was a lack of racial diversity in Final Fantasy 16. And he said, ultimately, we felt that while incorporating ethnic diversity into Valisthea was important, and over-incorporation into this single corner of a much larger world could end up causing a violation of those narrative boundaries we'd originally set for ourselves. What? Like, I mean,
it's the kind of answer that could mean just like there's. I think that that the way everyone is interpreting that is probably likely to be correct, but I also would not be surprised if you find out that what he meant by that is that this core area of the world is portrayed to not have a whole lot of diversity because of socio-political factors that would not have led it to exactly being the kind of place where that occurs, whatever.
Yeah.
And you find out that maybe the rest of the world that's normal. That's a super, super generous example, but
let me give him the benefit of the doubt really quickly, because like one of my worst instances is people of one race depicting the suffering of the people of another race, right? So everyone loves Knives Out, but I feel like that movie really mishandled the immigrant experience like in a really gross and disgusting way, and I hated it for it. So I think if you, like John, that quote that you pulled up, like where he talked about like he didn't want to cross any narrative boundaries. I think I could kind of get behind that if it means like, yeah, I don't know how to tell stories with certain of featuring certain races or certain
well, so
that's
I think like
I don't want to like target a specific and make it seem like I'm kind of, that's sort of
Jeff, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say like I'm not giving a pass for this game. I don't know, it sucks that there's not more representation and there's not really an excuse now, but I think it comes to me, I do take into account context and I guess so. Specifically with Yoshi P, I look back at what else has his team worked on, and I look at 14, where very clearly they made an effort in that game to represent different cultures from around the world. Like in Endwalker, we got some South Asian representation, in terms of the art direction, the music, the influence, even the voice actors. And then we got East Asian references in Stormblood. Like they very clearly, that team has no aversion to depicting diversity of culture and beliefs and things like that. So I think again, it doesn't. I won't justify it for this game, but I look at that a little bit different than I look at like Eastern or Western Eastern European studio that has only made games very specifically about white dudes, right? Like it's
I'll also throw in. I don't think it's like any one person's responsibility to represent every single race, and most times it comes out a bit clumsy. That's always been my thing, where it's just like, I always thought like, look, if someone doesn't feel comfortable writing about like a different culture, they shouldn't have to. Whatever. Don't even do it. Don't even attempt it. Right? You know what I'm saying? Everyone gets pissed that Wes Anderson cast a lot of white people. Who cares? He's white. Like it makes sense. It makes sense. It's clumsy. Scorsese's doing the same thing. I wouldn't want him to. So I wouldn't want him to. Yoshi P. He's Japanese, right?
Right.
And yes. Sure. It's weird. No, but I'm saying it's weird that it is weird that he's doing a lot of Eurocentric like fantasy stuff, right? But that's always been Final Fantasy's whole thing, right? It's always been like, very European influenced like fantasy stuff, like in the early games and now in this one. Sure, that's weird, but would I want him putting a Latino character in a game only for him to get fucking tortured? Like the M ratings, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So CJ, what you said, like, and I'm not saying that this is like Yoshi P's rationalization behind it, but what you said made me think of what Scorsese said when he was asked, hey, why don't you have a lot of people of color in your movies? Why don't you have a lot of, for example, black people who are in your movies? And he said, well, it has nothing to do with prejudice. He said those aren't my stories to tell.
100%.
He said I cannot accurately depict that because that is not obviously not my life experience. So I was like, what you said kind of made me think of that.
So like that's my thing. Now I could be completely wrong. Yoshi P probably does not like. He's not thinking of like. He's not playing the chess that I'm playing.
He's not that deep. Yeah.
And even that, I don't know why the fuck I'm like going to bat for a game I probably won't play. But it's just like it's just me. Yeah, no, really. John's gonna play a Final Fantasy game. Wow. What a But
I know.
It's just my sort of thing where it's like. I don't want to like jump on the throat of one person of color for not wanting to like tackle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I don't think the correct response.
His response was shit though. Like he didn't explain. I don't think he explained himself correctly.
No, he didn't explain himself.
100%. But that,
and I don't know if that's like translated
No, that's how PR
But-
speaks. Like I think it's like intentional.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's the most nothing statement that he could possibly
It was
give.
there.
Like,
Correct.
like
whatever.
I think
it's the nature of
yeah, it's
the na-
completely the wrong reaction to be frustrated with Yoshi P like that deeply over this, right? Because he was in a position where he had to give a non-answer, and like you said, like the context is this isn't like a group of fucking Polish dudes who have only made games about white dudes. This is a person of color from a largely Japan-led studio at a Japanese publisher who has running a franchise that's of Eurocentric fantasy, like, but has a history of doing, you know, giving that kind of representation of the cultures of the world in previous works. So it's just,
before
it's not the
I go
same.
further, how has there ever been an incredibly horrible like racist caricature in any Final Fantasy game?
Oh, bruh, are you kidding me?
No, legit. I don't know. All I know is Stranger the Paradise. I want to apologize to all white people because that shit felt racist towards that. Like, that shit felt like.
Wait, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
That shit set you guys back at least like a couple. I apologize. Like, 100%.
No, dude, no. You're crazy because Jack is the most accurate depiction of someone like me that you could possibly like.
Right.
Chaos.
That doesn't mean CJ's wrong, though. You get how that's worse.
No, that's my thing. I'm like,
saying,
hey, you know what?
Derek, CJ, let's fucking face it. If you, me, Jeff, Britt, and Derek were like all meeting on a road, I'd be the guy who walked up and was like and said, "I'm on a mission to kill chaos," and hold my fist up, and the rest of you would be like,
All right, buddy, go ahead. I'm not staying here till sundown. I'm good.
My crystal's vibrating. Is your crystal vibrating?
That's my
too?
thing. So it seems like Yoshi P is
John
like
would walk up and say, "What? You know what this fucking right-wing incel chud said?"
I printed out the tweet.
About the Mario movie, wearing all flannel and like. My thing
I'm on a mission
my thing is, Yoshi P seems like he's on a better track than most of like the series in general, right? Because a lot of the series seems like it's still stuck in its like dude, oh my god, look at Barrett from fucking Final Fantasy 7. Like,
There you
come on.
go. I wasn't gonna say
You're right.
Right now, Nick is like, I will absolutely look at Barrett from Final Fantasy
Oh,
7.
you know what, Nick? Go for it. But I don't want to hear him talk because it's just horrifying. It is horrifyingly bad. But it's like, sure, 97, Final Fantasy 97, the year I was born. Final Fantasy 7 comes out. Bad translation. Japanese people trying to rape black people in a way to make it seem like he's like Mr.
CJ,
T. I'm sure
it was worse. It was worse before because
But
when the
remake,
demo. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
But like the remake is still cringeworthy as fuck. I don't mind. Barrett's not a bad character. He's well written, but his dialogue is horrible. It is horrible.
So the demo disc for the like back in like 1997, right? There was a demo disc for Final Fantasy 7 that like came out like back when Square was like with Tobal #1, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you thought the writing for Barrett was cringy in the game, originally in the demo he was saying shit like foo, like Mr. T with no L at the end and an apostrophe, and he's like, "What are you talking about, foo?" And I remember playing that and I was like, "What the?"
When you look at that, right? I think, and you guys, I haven't played 14, but you guys are telling me like the representation of a lot of different cultures is a little bit better.
It really is.
I think I can cut Yoshi P a little bit of the fucking faces you guys are making. I can cut Yoshi P a little bit of slack, right? Again, his answer wasn't acceptable at all. It's still some bullshit PR fucking nothing response.
Yeah.
But I think he was putting first of all, like Britt mentioned, could have been a translation thing too. Again, it's weird sometimes with that. He was kind of put in a weird position.
The English language and the Japanese language don't necessarily sync up. Like
Jeff, what the fucking Winnie the Pooh gif? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think
damn it.
So I will say this. I think that interview, if anything, just proves that even with the successful implication of diversity in Final Fantasy XIV, that Japan in general still has a long way to go when it comes to diversity and recognizing people of color. And that's, it's just because obviously Japanese people. But it's still disappointing nonetheless, his response. Because it was just aired. Like there was like three paragraphs long of 3 paragraphs long of him just explaining essentially the universe that this game takes place in, and it's just like,
This is the same
I don't
goof
know.
up we've seen PR people fall into
and I will say this,
for
like,
years.
yeah, I
So
will
it's
say,
kind of like you should have expected this.
And it's
one,
hard
man.
when you're the only one representing this game, right? Because it's like, you talk to a Kojima or an Ed Boon or a Todd Howard, or because they're like the ones kind of they're like the face of like whatever game you're making, right? So that also again, the game could be fine, right? We could probably see a few people of color or whatever. We could probably see it's
and I think that's what's the note. He's not saying that they're not there, just in this part of the country that the game takes place in, they are not present, right? Like, that's what he said. He didn't say there are not any people of color. He just said, I think people are going to be disappointed because in this region of the game, people of color are present. But the way he said it is, he was like, this takes place in Europe, and it's just the same bullshit that people like us have learned that, right? But not people in Japan.
What got me was like,
again, I'm not defending what he's doing, and I'm not saying what he did is great by any means, because it was a flop answer, and he should have had something better planned. But I don't think it's anything to hang Yoshi P or the game over.
I think what frustrated me was when I saw people comparing this situation with Final Fantasy 16 to like CD Projekt Red's explanation about, and I'm like, come on, guys, this is nowhere remotely
the fucking like literal Nazis versus Yoshi P.
Yeah,
let's relax.
Come on, guys, let's calm down. Like, let's calm down.
Like, the thing, there's a difference, right?
Calm
like
down.
The CD Projekt Red stuff in every instance is like basically a sort of like proud ignorance of like a lot of things, right? They clearly didn't have any like sensitivity training before making any of their games. Yoshi P is at least self-aware enough to answer a question in an interview, right? I feel like if CD Projekt Red was asked that same exact question, it'd be like the absolute worst answer we'd ever hear, and it would probably, what I'm saying, kill me.
Like, again, it just goes to show you that other countries could benefit from more minority writers, or people just in their industries out of this country.
That's the thing, because then you don't have to have like someone writing a life experience they don't understand. If you have them on your team, then it's easy.
Which doesn't help when Japan is historically a much more racially homogenous country than a lot of places.
What I was trying to say earlier, but I didn't have the good words.
Jeff, to your point, that's the thing. It's like, look, I could watch a bunch of movies with like, or a bunch of like, what is it? Marvel has all these like people of color and like people of different sexual orientations. That's fine, I guess. It feels shallow because no one in the writer's room is like of any of these groups. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, you're right. These experiences don't, the stories of these that are being told don't matter necessarily, because it feels like an empty gesture. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather you just tell whatever you want to tell, without feeling the need to pander, unless you're gonna put your money where your mouth is and hire like someone who can actually tell the story correctly. You know what I'm saying? Again, even one of my favorite games of all time, Mafia 3, that writer's room is like incredibly white. Incredibly white. Incredible like meditation on like race and like in politics of the 60s, but it's a very white writer's room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's we can do better.
Yeah. Part of it to me is like you're always expecting there's going to be in a healthy world, right? You have the inclusion of more minority groups, more along a spectrum of how they're included, right? Where you get stories that simply feature them, and the story is not specifically about like the struggles of those people or something culturally unique to them, where they are just part of a larger puzzle.
Oh yeah, like,
but you also
Mexican
need stories
needs to be a gang member in a fucking
and then you would also have stories that are like very much by and about specifically said cultural group. But the problem is that the way things are set up now is it's like your standard is don't be seen at all, or half the time if you're gonna be seen, it's gonna be fucking Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's, right? Like it's gonna be.
Incredible.
I wish you simply weren't there.
Incredible pull. Thank you so much.
But like ideally, we would see that switch some, right?
Fucking
So like
Johnny Depp as Tonto.
Because Final Fantasy, like, it's crazy to me because you could easily make a game like Final Fantasy 16 and presumably have more visible NPCs and characters who just are like, different races or whatever, and that not be like a story that is about those cultural differences. There's nothing that requires you to just not have some people who look like some other folks and not get into it.
So I think a good note to end this on is that I think it was difficult to see Yoshi P go from something, or Final Fantasy as a franchise to go from something that was so inclusive, like Final Fantasy 14 with its Endwalker campaign. Like Jeff was saying earlier, it's disappointing to see that much representation in that expansion, and look forward to that in further Final Fantasy games, especially the one that Yoshi P, who's the director of Final Fantasy 14 and is now a director of 16. I think people were looking forward to the change in the shift and change of a cast, and hoping for something to kind of be different with this Final Fantasy and kind of rewrite like all the previous the like job stereotypes and casts that we've had before. And if it falls flat, it falls flat. There's no excuse for that. But I think it'll be a good lesson in the future, that there's room to grow, and there's room to improve, and there's room to put writers, minorities, POC on your team, so you can avoid stuff like this. Like I think ultimately that's what it comes down to: hire minority writers, hire POCs.
But like you can also just be kind of disappointed and be like, they could have done better at this, and then move on because it's not like the front of the fight that has to be made, which is with people like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, because it's the companies, like it's the CD projects that we have to really be fucking pitching fights at. It's the Hogwarts games that are the actual front, and like Final Fantasy 16 ain't that.
I will say that like I'm not going to tell minorities and people of color how they should feel about a game not being inclusive towards them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say it's not a big deal when it could be a big deal to people, or it could be a deal breaker.
I guess
them.
I mean like obviously like on an individual level, like everyone is going to feel how they're going to feel, and like there's a lot of room,
right. Especially, I mean, like, so it's easy for me.
It's on the
Jeff,
grand level.
Yeah, it's easy for me and Jeff,
mean.
For instance, as people who played Final Fantasy 14, to be like, okay, we've seen what he can do. Like, we know it can be better, right?
Yeah.
But there's people that don't play Final Fantasy 14 who see this statement and are like, that's shitty. I don't like that,
Right.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
I do I want to shift the topic real quick, because I feel I feel like I have a fun question to ask.
Really?
Yeah, give me something fun.
We can end this on something fun for sure.
Yeah. What games are you guys looking forward to the most in the next 3 months? I know I've said what do you anticipate most for 2023, but I'm talking about like what, like, cause there's so we started in, I would say, like end of October, early November, with like just a flood of games, right? We had Harvestella, we had God of War, we had Pokemon, we're gonna have Callisto Protocol tomorrow, we're gonna have Midnight Suns tomorrow, we're gonna have Crisis Core on the 12th. Like,
I mean, Crisis Core is definitely one of them.
You said 3 months, so that would put us up until March, right? So then, like, for me, my two big, so like 2022 is kind of done, with the exception of that one review code I'm waiting on, and also like I'm still playing Need for Speed. I'm done with 20. I'm gonna finish Live. I'm gonna try to finish God of War Ragnarok. And that's pretty much it, doing my cleanup. As far as like the next 3 months, I mean, Like a Dragon Ishin is like number 1 probably, and then also now after finishing Kirby in the Forgotten Land, I'm getting that Return to Dreamland Deluxe Edition, baby. That's probably my most anticipated game because I never played the original one on Wii. So that's like that's it. Like those 2 games are like my picks, and they're both released in the same month. I think they're both in February, right?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
John, go next.
I mean, obviously Crisis Core, but also Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Final Bar line.
Yes, that was gonna be my 2. Oh.
Britt, I am really fucking excited about this.
I'm excited for Crisis Core, and I still gotta finish that fucking remake.
Fucking Dragon Quest Treasures. I'm always down for some more Dragon Quest. Octopath Traveler 2 looks fucking outstanding. I think it's going to be great to have Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 FES on Switch.
God, and Game Pass. Oh my god, I literally just bought Royal on Switch. I'm gonna torture myself now.
It's about goddamn time we got those games.
Goddamn time.
Available to a wider audience. The thing is that there are fucking dude, Fire Emblem Engage.
Man, why are you taking mine? I was like, okay, he's named
Derek,
30
Derek,
games.
He went first.
Surely.
All I did was mention the name, Derek.
He would have said that just to fuck with you.
Derek, speak on it. Speak on it, Derek. That's what I want you to do right now.
I'm excited for the unannounced Sonic game that I just heard about right now.
Derek,
you can't pull a Derek. Only Derek can pull a Derek.
Derek, pull a Derek on Fire Emblem right now.
Fire Emblem Engage. Look, y'all. I go through this cycle every time with a major Fire Emblem release. I go, okay, this is gonna be fine, but like I'm not gonna follow it too closely. It's gonna be like middle of my wanted list next year, and then we get like a couple months away, and I accidentally see one of my first actual clips of the game, and I get so stupidly hyped that I just want to look up everything about the game, every class, every weapon, everything about it, all the different characters I can recruit. I want all of it now, but I know if I do that I will spoil my experience of the game, so I can't. And then
never
I'm in
played
hell.
a Fire Emblem game.
Then I'm in hell
Britt.
until Fire Emblem comes out.
I really want to play Three Houses now that I own a Switch.
Well, and the fucked up thing is, CJ, as thirsty as Britt is, I can't believe she hasn't played a Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem would destroy you.
Like Britt.
Fire Emblem would break you.
So let me just go to Amazon.
If you buy 3 houses, you're gonna want to fuck the Pope.
Look, wait, hold up. This doesn't count. But like, I'm excited for that Advance Wars remake.
Clarify what you just said. Clarify what you just said.
What do you think I said?
I'm gonna want to fuck the Pope.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, no, you will absolutely.
I'm gonna have to scare the Pope.
No, Britt. No, I need to see Britt's reaction to this. Britt, Google Fire Emblem 3 Houses and Dimitri.
That's not the Pope.
No, but Britt will absolutely thirst over Dimitri.
Jeff, is there a game you're excited for?
Wait a minute. Is this Pope with the girl with the green hair?
There's multiple girls with green hair. That doesn't say anything.
No, I know what she's talking about. Yes, that is the Pope.
With like she has like the headband with the flowers and the little
correct one.
Yeah, that's the Pope.
100%. No, 100%.
Look up Dimitri now, Britt.
Why the fuck does the Pope look like Griffith from Berserk? What the fuck?
That's not true.
Okay, hold on. Let me fucking show this to CJ.
Wait.
Britt will thirst so hard over Fire Emblem characters.
Because
believe you have not played these.
Women or gays are actually thirsting over Dimitri. They all thirst over Claude. Nobody likes Dimitri. Incels like Dimitri.
You're telling me right now that people don't.
Let me look at Dimitri. All right, he's all right.
Hold on. You're telling me that people don't know when he gets his fucking eye patch. You're telling me that people don't thirst over him?
No.
Who's like the himbo one?
Claude.
Who's another himbo character? I see him a lot.
Oh, it's Raphael. That's the definition of himbo.
I like Leonardo personally.
Who is the character? She's not in 3 Houses, but she's got the one strap going
John's right. Dimitri, when eye patch? Are you kidding me? Instant 10.
That man has never seen shampoo in his life. Look at his hair.
I fucking told you.
So the young one, not so much, but the older one with the eye patch, 100%. 10 out of 10.
Like, I cannot believe Britt has not played a Fire Emblem game as thirsty as she is.
Jeff, what are you looking forward to in the next 3 months?
I mean, Crisis Core is a game that's coming out, but I don't know when I'll play it. It's
Have
one
you
of those
played it
games.
before? I was gonna ask you earlier, but I didn't.
No, I of course, Final Fantasy VII was my favorite game of all time for my whole life. So I wanted to, but I had
Did you just not have a PSP?
I
when
had
it came
I had a
out?
digital PSP, and Crisis Core is one of the only games that never got a digital
yeah.
release. There was some hang up with the music licensing, I think, so I was just never able to play it.
Dacked.
So yeah, I've been waiting 20 years to play, the prequel to one of my favorite games of all time. So I want to make sure I'm in the right headspace for it. I want to make sure I have the time to dedicate to it. I don't want to be playing it 20 minutes at a time or a week on, week off kind of thing. So I'm just waiting for the right moment. So I don't know when I'll get to it, but I guess the other one is I'm probably the only one, but I'm excited for Starfield. I'm optimistic. I'm a big space nerd. I like exploration. I like vibes in games. I think it's going to deliver on a lot of that stuff. I'm fine with Bethesda jank. I'm trying to decide how much on my shit list they are for the Mick Gordon stuff. I know it was largely id, but like Bethesda put out that statement, so yeah, it might be another case of well, sucks I can't enjoy this game, but I'll probably be over it by then. So I think I was surprised Starfield doesn't have a date. I thought for sure when it got delayed another year that it did, but apparently it's just 2023. So we'll see.
DJ,
Oh, I already said it. It's Kirby and Yakuza.
that's it.
Kirby and Yakuza. Yeah, okay. Like you guys are underestimating a remake of a platformer I never played. I'm on it, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's CJ
John,
Core
I'm
right there.
surprised. John, I'm surprised you did not say Octopath Traveler.
I did say
think he
Octopath
did.
Traveler.
Did you? All right, I'm just
did.
not fucking paying attention.
Brit
All
missed
right.
like
I did.
the chunk where I was like talking about Kirby and
Brit's
Yakuza.
Brit's not even fucking paying attention to what the fuck I say anymore. Like Brit doesn't.
That's
give a
not
shit.
true. You said Crisis Core and Theatrhythm, and I tapped out because those were mine.
Yeah, and then you stopped fucking listening because you didn't give a shit.
Excited
All right,
for
no.
Brit.
Let me.
I'm
I
excited to
got,
do
one,
more
you didn't
podcasts
give a
with my
Brit.
friends.
I got one that nobody has said yet,
What's
Yeah.
that?
and that is Forspoken. Derek, I'm surprised you didn't say that one
Oh
either.
shit, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Wait, is that coming out within the next 3 months?
Yeah, it
That's
comes out in
February.
January.
January.
January? No
Oh, it is
shit.
January, right?
24th. Yeah.
Yeah.
No fucking shit.
Isn't Dead Space coming out in January also?
Derek is going to be the shit. It is.
And the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Resident
Those
Evil
are
4
my-
remake in
Oh, it's March.
Fuck.
Listen,
like
oh my god, I've been holding off playing the original version. I owed it on Switch, and I'm like, no, I kind of want to wait till I play this. Like this is like the only Resident Evil game I know for sure I'll play through in its entirety.
Here's the thing, I need to make somebody out there has to play the remake first and then the original, because too many of us have already played Resident Evil 4. The number
I'll
of
do
people
it.
out there who
I'll
have
do
not
it.
played Resident
I'll
Evil
do
4
it.
is shockingly low.
Okay, I'll do it.
We
I will
need your
100%.
help.
No, Jeff should do it. Jeff should do it. He didn't like Final Fantasy. Resident Evil 4. He should definitely do it. Unbiased
all I'll say
opinion.
is the original Resident Evil 4 is what is probably the most perfectly paced game I've ever played.
Don't tell me that because I'll play through it
No.
now and burn myself out. I'll burn
CJ,
myself.
DJ, literally
Oh.
perfectly paced. Perfectly paced. There is not an ounce of fat on that fucking game, and there is not a single moment where Resident Evil 4 just lags or slows, or like the game is just
Front half of the
literally
island.
flawless. Yes, Nick is right. It's the Chrono Trigger of third-person shooters. Absolutely. The game is just borderline fucking perfect. All right, we are past our time here, Derek.
Fine.
We'll go ahead and log off here. We got a lot of content coming up for you guys in the next few weeks. Of course, we are sponsored Square Enix content creators, and Square Enix is coming out with a lot of fucking games. So aside from the Square Enix reviews you have already seen from us, we are going to be having a lot more here coming up soon.
Damn it, Lane. Sorry.
CJ is going to be reviewing Redacted for us. He's going to be getting a code for Redacted here within the next day or so, I think. And he's going to be playing Redacted, and we got a lot of other shit happening too. So we are really looking forward to that. Thank you again, as always, Square Enix for providing us the codes to review your games. We greatly appreciate it. If you're not a member of our Discord, we got links in the chat right there. We would we're over 400 people in our Discord now, guys. We are over 400 people. I don't know why either, but we must be doing something right. So what the fuck is happening in chat?
People are being mean to me.
No, people are wow. Anyway, it's time to end this fucking show. We have got we got some cool community stuff coming happening again in January as well, which we will talk about. We're going to be bringing back a lot of our community events. But we'll get into that later. Now is not the time. Jeff, Jesus Christ. All right.
Started it.
Derek, you know what? You know what? Kindness costs nothing. Derek, kill us.
Hey,
Take us
CJ,
Kill it.
you know what you're excited for?
What am I excited for?
You're excited to get in that hive, that bees, to get that bee honey. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not using Hive anymore.
Get that honey.
Like that shit.
Please end the stream.
That's a security.